on Twitter about 30 minutes ago. Apparently he's been leading the team for NiP for a little while now. So didn't realize that personally, but yeah, he's sitting in the middle. He's been doing the veto with Pitta. So anyway, we are into it. NiP on the T side. Inferno is a classic map. Every top level Swedish team can play it. NiP being part of so many historic Inferno matches. However, Astralis has always been just such an indomitable force here. So I'm curious if NiP can get off to a good start. They're pretty spread out right now. You feel like they're just putting the feelers out there, trying to get the information, see if Astralis are doing anything untowards. And everything's toward James. So now they're getting the bomb and moving toward the A bomb site themselves. There are 3 players for Astralis ready and waiting.
Get right, the utility man. He looks like he's about to deploy a smoke grenade. Kevlar for the rest of the squad. So there's a smoke to isolate some players towards the arch position, I think. Indeed it is. Library has been separated. Rez will go for the 1 versus 1, very easily taken care of by Device, and Magisk will be hitting the first bullet as well. Headshots galore as far as Astralis are concerned. Ninjas in pajamas have a lot to do with Dennis. Now, he's a man who we used to talk about a lot with pistols, but this is a really bad situation. Now they know where he is. Crossfire is pretty much guaranteed. It's 1 versus 4, and he may be peeking into 2 or 3 players at the same time. See the off angles being held. Trying to engage someone. He wants a 1 versus 1. He's about to get one. Defects is low, gets taken out, but there is the trade. Abusing numbers advantage, and Astralis take the pistol.
Well, it's a little bit too easy for Astralis, didn't it? Just sitting back, popping heads. Really good stuff from them.
Sometimes it be that way. Sometimes it be like that.
Yep, it's true. Very nice. Okay, so smooth start for Astralis. Not really all that way. Well, can't be said the same for NiP, I should say. And I think a force buy is very unlikely here for NiP. I think we will see that full save. I'm very curious how the banana dynamic will go in this matchup, just because obviously Astralis are so strong at gaining banana control, and one of those and you can't just say, okay, well, Astralis are really good at it, so we're just not going to contest it and just give it up. You have to fight for it at least some of the time. So I'm curious if NiP will be able to get any mileage with the battle on banana, because you cannot allow Astralis just to have the map. You just can't do it. You've got to actually pressure away the map. Otherwise, they'll just be working with too many advantages. But as mentioned, just the Glocks and a Deagle here for NiP. Dennis on that Deagle. There he is. Oh, no.
Oh, yes. No. Oh, no. You saw how Device was spotted jiggling the corner, immediately moved to the right-hand side, as I think it was Dennis who was jiggling as well, playing the off angle, looking to avoid getting pre-fired. Ding-dong with the Glock, not enough from that range. Often the Glock needs 3 shots to the head to kill a player with a helmet. Glocks can really suck. And then there were 2. Glaive can fall back into a safer position, as can Device. Leaves the high health players to peek first. 2-man set up towards Arch. The Deagle has been collected. So, again, the Deagle's the only real investment in this round for Ninjas in Pajamas, but 1 frag, and that's like $3,000–4,000 of damage. So they will try to squeeze everything out of this that they can. And you need to against Astralis. Astralis will give you nothing in most cases. So you must try to force everything you can, because it's all about the long game. Every frag counts. 19 seconds, and now we get to a point where the pressure is on for Ninjas in Pajamas to simply be fragged. They need their loss bonus. There are the kills, and it's 2-0 for Astralis. No one is lost. Patient start for the Danes. So far, so good.
Yeah, all according to plan after the pistol. So now the bow come in from NiP.
Popcorn. And
I mentioned the battle of bananas. I don't know that NiP will be all that interested in going for it this round, and one of the reasons is because actually no, Get Right should be able to get full utility as well, so they should be able to have mostly full utility. They are lacking some of the Molotovs that they may need, so that would probably discourage them from challenging too much on banana. You can see that that's just an advantage that Astralis are just going to have. They just have more utility here, and they've got 3 players starting at banana at the beginning of the round, as often we will see for CT sides. for the extra utility. And now Astralis have they have better map control. They will soon have full vision of Banana. So NiP must take top middle, and it must be successful.
Dupree could get caught, and he will eliminate it immediately by Get Right. One shot to the head and dead. 3 players moving up the arch position, but they've got an Org to deal with. Magisk with the scope, resetting the situation, moving around double stack at long range. Good for 3 kills. Marvelous hold from him. Dennis and Forest remain 2 versus 3. Still some advantages because they're up against SMGs in their entirety. Astralis must be careful if they look to swap a weapon out. Now the pit has been taken control of. There are no smokes here for the T side. Dennis very well positioned, but maybe took too much damage. 8 HP now in his 2 versus 2.
He does have Forest alive with him though, who is full on HP. But with the lack of utility, that's slightly annoying. However, the site does offer a lot of coverage. Oh, very important 1v1 there for Forest, but he'll lose it against the UMP. That is very unfortunate. You feel like Forest with an AK-47 coming out of the pit position, no less, should be a surefire victory, but no. NiP will go down 3 rounds now. And this performance from Magisk, the 3 kills, that seems like it was just slightly too much for NiP to deal with. The Org is so good at those spots. That was already a strong position, that headshot position, James, but now with the Org and the scope and stuff, it's even more consistent.
Completely agree. The Org has really changed the game.
Yeah.
In terms of defenses, multi-frags. Really hard to deal with, it seems. If you can't identify where a player is very, very quickly, your comms have got to be on point against these Orgs. The armor penetration is sublime. And NiP back to pistols. More dangerous than the 1 Deagle we saw previously. 3 Deagles and 2 CZ75s. Make it 2. NiP cut to pieces very quickly. Get Right's got some Kevlar, but no one's taken any damage yet for Astralis. Got a flashbang in there, not perfect range. Oh, okay. He will get something out of it, and that's worthwhile. Yeah, $5,700 nice. Spent by device, and he's got to rebuy everything.
So it doesn't look great for NiP so far, just because they lost. They got wiped out flawlessly pretty much from the pistol. They had a full eco right after that. That's already 2 of the 4 rounds we've seen. So we've only really seen like 1 proper buy round until now. So I don't think anyone should be all that alarmed just yet. This will be the first round in which NiP could even possibly decide to challenge Banana if they wanted, because finally they have utility. Here we go. We got the Molotov pretty deep there as we see Dennis charging up. And a much more passive approach here from Astralis. Wow, what a shot there. Device connecting onto Lekro. He takes one in the head as well, which is pretty phenomenal. I would imagine that Lekro must have shot him through the apartments for him to still be alive. So pretty cool to see a peek like that from Device, though, in towards second mid. But now NiP have apartments control, and it looks like they're going to go towards B, leaving Get Right lurking towards Boiler. Pretty standard stuff here for Inferno. And considering that they've denied a lot of information from Astralis don't know what's going on. So they're actually rotating Glaive back towards A.
Soon they will, though. I feel like Glaive is inclined to peek the arch position once that smoke goes, which you can see on the radar. There is a peek from Forest, no flash, and that makes it very easy for Device because Forest is closer to the corner of engagement, so he will be showing to Device first. And I think the bomb is in an exposed position as well, but that flashbang is absolutely perfect. Horrible timing for Device, and now there's an opportunity. However, Glaive sprayed through the smoke. Oh boy. I wonder these days if Astralis and Smokes are more infamous than some other people of the past. 5-0, and Ninjas in Pyjamas, nothing doing just yet. Lekro and Rez haven't got any frags just yet. Forest on 1. So there's plenty of money to be made by Astralis, especially in a round such as this. Tactical timeout from Ninjas in Pyjamas. I mean, that's an unfortunate situation. Ooh, that's a big peek from Lekro. Yeah, so again, Forest is so close to that corner that Device will have an opportunity. The raw peek there is quite a risky one if a sniper is towards the B-bomb site.
And that's the thing as well. You kind of want to... Like one of the reasons why you might not want to flash is because, especially when you have the AWP entry fragging is just because you don't want the play on the other end to kind of disappear. You want Forest to be able to just peek out and take the contacts and hit the shot, as opposed to flashing that player back and then still having to deal with somebody on the site. That might be the reason why they didn't flash. However, Device is pretty damn consistent, so there goes a quick banana push. The nade's actually doing some good damage. Glaive needs to hold on by himself for a moment. The push, or rather, sorry, the rotation is coming quite quickly, but Glaive is more than enough for this one. He's off to a fantastic start, James. He's 12-0 already.
Not too shabby at all. That really was a devastating multi-spray through the smoke previously, but now he's got his one on the board as he gets taken out by Get Right. 2 kills for Ninjas in Pyjamas. So again, it helps for the long term. It helps. That is about $12,000 worth of damage. And a solid 6-0 for Astralis. Ninjas in Pyjamas back on the buy. Didn't get the bomb plant for the bonus money, which again would help long term, but they're on the buy anyway. It was an eco run previously. Now let's see if they can turn things around versus the 5 scopes on the Astralis squad. 5 AKs for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Plenty of utility as well. The utility is displayed in order of purchase. I know some OCD types will want them also be all the Molotovs in a line together and so on. But they are displayed in order of purchase. So Ninjas in Pyjamas with a focus. Oh, they're going to have a burst. I think Forrest is going to throw a pop flash for his teammates. Dupree will avoid it though, but he can't avoid 3 players going through the smoke. A complete change of pace by Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Yeah, this is really nice. I like how NiP are working with the basics here. And a good frag onto Magus, but Device from the pit position might be troublesome to deal with. How do they get rid of him? Molotov will help, but the smoke is there to answer it, as Device now can dodge around and be an absolute nuisance. If he can find any more picks from this position, that will be terrifying. And they know that he's there still, and they will get the bomb down regardless. As Device goes for the peaks, hits the legs of Forest. Now down to Glaive, who so far has been having a great game, but Rez gets on the board with his first kill. Very nicely done, and it's the first round for NiP. It's 1-6. But I have to say, James, I feel like even though it's not been that successful so far for NiP, I feel like they're playing some really good basics on Inferno. I feel like it's just difficult against Astralis.
Most things are difficult against Astralis. Now let's see if they can get that consecutive round. With the damage they did here and there, the odd frag, Ninjas in Pyjamas, they could potentially put Astralis in an eco situation very, very soon if they can get a consecutive round. Big if. And it would need to be by elimination in most cases. Some harassment through the thin walls, the cheap plaster, will help Ninjas in Pyjamas move through the apartments. Oh, I'm sure Dupree spotted these players, but he's in good for the frag on this occasion. Magisk is, however, he's got support. We've got the his teammate falling back from short. That's Device, but he's back straight up in time to catch Dennis off guard. NiP trying to capitalize on an opportunity. It looks like they see windows of opportunity, and they're looking to really capitalize on those before Astralis can adjust. On that occasion, didn't quite work out for them, and now Astralis have the man advantage.
Yeah, that peek from Dennis looks pretty crazy. It's sad for NiP to almost throw away the 4 versus 4, as that is significantly easier than the 3 versus 4 they currently find themselves in, of course. And there's still some time on the clock, but they don't have any control towards Banana, so they're committed towards A, and this should be pretty pedestrian for the remainder of Astralis to defend. It's a good return from Forest, though. Difficult shot to hit. Time pressure now as there's less than 30 seconds to get this bomb planted. More defensive efforts there from Device. Good shot from Lekro. He's alone. 2 players to deal with. Another fantastic headshot coming in from Lekro. Glaive, last man standing, and up on the box he goes, but it's Glaive with the frag. Another one for Astralis.
Yeah, that was a key round where NiP could have broken Astralis, but the opportunity still arises because Astralis survived with very, very low numbers, well, the lowest number, and NiP can still buy, so there's a second opportunity for them to do the same. But they need to capitalize on it. You can see Astralis' loss bonus is at the minimum, so it's very important for the Swedes to be able to win this round. I think if there's a chance for Ninjas in Pyjamas to make Astralis uncomfortable, then maybe that's their way in. I think that was the play with Dennis rushing on short in the previous round. But it's a pretty hard job to do, especially consistently. as Astralis make it look easy on Banana. NiP caught completely off guard. Rez was not expecting that to happen. And there's no answer. There's no answer to that. You're smoked off. The map control has been taken by Astralis.
I like how they're keeping 2 players on Banana as well. You don't always want to send someone back. We can go into the reasons perhaps in a moment, as NiP now have top middle control, and Zipex is the watcher of Arch, but he'll be flashed. Oh, sorry, smoked off there on library. There's not actually no flash. Through the okay, there's the flash. They go for the burst through the smoke. 2 kills, though. There's a fantastic result, just leaving Forest alive. A headshot position to deal with there towards the crawl space. Oh dear, this is not very fun, is it, for Forest, as he will try to work his way through the smoke. And there's not too much he can do. Glaive is just everywhere. 16 for 2. What a nuisance Glaive is being in this game so far. Only 9 rounds played, but he's decimating his opposition.
Yeah, it is completely wild what a trade frag is. Like, 1 frag for Astralis is worth how many frags for NiP? It's fractions. The entire team is wiped out and they only get 1 frag in response. Again, they had 2 opportunities to break Astralis and start the comeback. They failed on both occasions, and the score is 8-1. And Ninjas in Pajamas are in eco territory once again as the loss bonus continues to rise. There's a tactical timeout again for Ninjas in Pajamas at the moment. But this is a rough start. Those were 2 key rounds. Either one, if they had won, would have been potentially a dramatic change in scoreline. But Astralis have passed both tests.
And one of the problems for NiP is they're not finding their way onto any post plants. We haven't seen any rounds won by defuse or by detonation of the bombs. So it tells you that NiP are struggling to get through this map control portion.
Dan.
I know, it's okay. No one tell Henry. He would be quite triggered. But yeah, they're struggling to get past the map control portion of the sort of opening of the rounds and converting that into a bomb site take and a post plant. It's just not happening, and that's where the T's get advantage. Is truly is when you get a good post plant, some good positioning, and the clock is set onto the CTs for a retake. That's where you want to be.
I feel like there's a lot of paper rock scissors. And NiP are losing like every single one. For example, when they threw the round prior, when they threw the smoke towards Arch, and they didn't seem to be expecting a re-smoke off the Arch position by the CTs. Then they're trying to force their way through. There's a multi-frag with the AUG. They trade that kill, and then that's like the only kill of the round. With the Arch pick, there's no more success. It's crazy just how good Astralis are. Again, NiP, there's still, they could still get, let's say, 6 rounds out of this half. That's still a possibility. So, and a part of the importance in trying to get there is doing damage in rounds such as this, which is why they may go on for a while. It's important to try and squeeze out all these frags, and now they're in a winnable situation. They're picking up rifles. They've got Astralis out of position. So this could be very interesting indeed.
It's Lecro, no less, with the double D entry frags. Good stuff from him, and NiP, they're off to the races. Finally, in a post plant, and they are looking really good here. There is limited utility on Astralis. There's a nice couple kills coming in for Dupree on the retake. Magic as well, just cutting them down. The numbers that they had, it was a 4 versus 3, and now they're all falling. Very unfortunate.
Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at Lecro on the camera. Like, never mind what's going on here. He's just like proper face palming pretty hard. I think this is. You can see the frustration. Look at the body language. Look at the body language. That is telling me more than I'm seeing on the camera. I mean, in the game right now.
Well, they're getting pretty fisted in the game as well, James. So I don't know what you. Great fragging there from Lecro. But yeah, 4 versus 3, and they just get wiped out. Yeah. Yeah, I think you always expect to do way more there, and it's those 2 kills. I think Lecro, it really feels like Get Rose trading is trading him there because he's taking first contact.
I guess with those entries, you're in a very strong position. You've got the numbers, you've got the sight to pick up 2 rifles. So I think just having to watch the team lose the round after that, probably frustrating when you think, okay, this is we're back, guys. This is how we turn things around. But it's not quite the case. But again, they've done a lot of damage. So they're on the buy once more. So there's still that potential to get 6 rounds. They've had 2 chances to break Astralis. Maybe this is another one.
They're definitely going to be stronger on the... I mean, NiP is typically a stronger team on the CT side, on most CT sides. So, you know, as you say, like if they can get to at least around the 5-round mark, they should be okay to still have a pretty damn competitive Inferno game. However, look at the amount of damage that NiP has received. Every single player has received pretty significant damage. That's not bad. Obviously, Astralis' utility usage, their play behind smokes is pretty excellent.
It's so awesome how far we've come in Counter-Strike just in terms of the usage of utility. I was about to say, well, a more successful push with a smoke on arch this time for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and it more or less is. It's 1 for 1, but they have more position in this. Last time they didn't get an opportunity to use it, but now they can wrap the B bomb site. Is the trade there? Apex falling off. Can't really fire his gun onto Rez, and now there's a chance. Forest, they know Forest is probably in CT, so there's not so much Astralis can do. You see the money, and this is where the problems are. These Magisk and Dupree are very likely resigned to saving in this situation to be able to put up a fight and stop the bleeding and the rounds to come. So, again, we saw some of these opportunities in previous rounds. They didn't work out for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but it's not too late in this half. And they've got just their 2nd round on the board on the way. Really rough start for Ninjas in Pyjamas against Astralis.
Yeah, this is the first round where they're actually getting just trades in the way that it's supposed to kind of work on the T side. Because in so many other rounds, it's like you said, you know, they managed to get a kill, but then you look at sort of where the dust, like when the dust is settled, you look at what's left, and there's just no one left, because Astralis have just been getting so many multi-kills and denying trades altogether in a lot of spots. Some great entry work here from the players on NiP. I feel like this can be a difficult map for NiP sometimes. I feel like, you know, NiP on a map, you know, the more open maps is when you can really get to see more play from the likes of, you know, a Rez and a Forest and a Dennis. They get more space to sort of run around and do damage. You're going to see more consistently good results from them. But here you have to fight against the team play of Astralis, the utility usage and timings of Astralis, the many different CT setups from Astralis, which can be hard to predict. You got to fight against all of that before you can even get your players into spots where they can maybe get frags and take position on the map.
Rez has a lot of difficult positions to play, I think, which is quite interesting. The sheer amount of abuse he's exposed to, like on Banana, for example, trying to hold some map control for the team, on the CT side of Train, just getting naded constantly in Pop Dog and so on. Oh, he's just going to get his bow rung immediately by Glaive as well. That was absolutely disgusting. Yeah, he's got a tough task ahead of him. But he has Dennis there to have some position on Banana. In the meantime, there's just shy of a minute left for Ninjas Pyjamas. They've taken top mid, so they've got Banana, they've got top mid, they've got denial of information. However, looking at the positions of Device and Dupree, the double Ds, it doesn't look like they will be staying in their positions for long. So I feel like they're going to soon get some information towards that top mid position. Dupree will be smoked off, but Device with the AWP, he might not be too shy to have a look towards shorts.
The smoke's going in, and Glaive is standing in front, very confident, but he'll have to back away due to the flash work of NiP. Zipex, though, looking for his moment to go in there. A Dupree with some spray through as well. And locked out by the utility of NiP. Ooh, that looked pretty close. One will go down, though. But look how few positions NiP have to stand in. They don't have construction. The only thing they really have is Banana besides the bomb site, which is, and they have to hold on to that. But they could get smoked. Okay, there is no smoke to smoke off Banana. So this looks really promising for NiP.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. Get right, we'll have to change his position again. 22 HP. No real damaging grenades, just that one flashbang and away they go. So the crossfire could be very, very brutal for Astralis. And if they get wiped out here, then again, there's a lot of chance. That bomb's very far ticked as well, so it's about falling back here for Astralis. And they will manage to do that for the most part. But Dupree, will he survive? I'm not so sure. No, he was way too close to the bomb. So I guess he was trying to maybe take somebody with him, but that didn't quite happen. So I think may have been worth the risk to try and move away. But there we go, another round on the board. And now we've got more monetary pressure for Astralis, and this is exactly what NiP needed. This is why they took risks earlier, why they were kind of bouncing around that short position when they thought they had an opportunity. Didn't always work out for them, but again, they can still get 6 rounds on the board. And Astralis may take a tactical pause to try and figure out what to do, get the abacus out, figure out if we buy around what they have or what they will choose to do at this moment. Their round loss bonus absolutely sucks. So perhaps there is discussion to be had.
Yeah, finally back in the action. And, you know, with NiP, it did feel like they were playing, you know, again, pretty good basics on Inferno. Like, you know, they're playing pretty well. The thing is, though, it's just very difficult against Astralis because they are the best in the business. I feel like it's still a little bit too soon to maybe, you know, write them off. You know, in that sense, obviously, they don't have quite the presence, I guess, that they had a couple months ago. But still, they are an incredibly good team, and it especially shows a map like this. Just looking to hold his ground at the top of Banana. He goes for the Y peak, but Dennis absolutely ready.
It's a stark difference to the approach to Banana when your opponent has a lot less money and they don't have really the utility to hold as they normally do. Again, if you're looking at the scoreboard, it doesn't really tell the whole story if you look at like Rez 2 for 10. If you look at what has been asked of him to try and have some presence towards Banana so you're not completely choked off against the arguably the best team in the world at this point. That is a very, very tall order, but here they are. Again, they've managed to break that money. Now they've only got really an AWP to deal with. Although Glave's on a deagle as well. He's 19 for 5, so who knows? Maybe he's feeling it. And NiP will wait out the smoke. So I think they've got Lecro in mid, keeping the opponent honest. Nothing crazy happening for the CTs. They wait.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Now we say like arguably the best team in the world, as they no longer have the #1 spot in the HLTV anymore. But at the same time, the context around it creates questions. So, and that can only really be answered with some time. It's a nice shot from Glaive. Is it small consolation? Perhaps it is, because the B-bomb side is completely open and there's not too much they can do to get it back in there.
Yeah, the Zipex and Glaive just ran up Speedway, and Forrest was behind the sandbags deep in the corner. And from that position, you can hear CTs running up Speedway, which is often why if you see a rotation from CTs from A to B, or vice versa, if they're on Speedway, they're often walking because they don't want to give that information away, or they're running around the long way through the spawn area. But in this case, it doesn't really matter because they're on eco and they only have got pistols anyway. The important weapons are away from B, the AWP and the AK collected by Dupree to be taken into the next rounds. But here's 4 on the board for Ninjas in Pajamas, and the money still sucks for Astralis. So again, 6 rounds. As rough as the rounds have looked that Astralis have won, as rough as they've looked for Ninjas in Pajamas. Once you break the money, you don't have that utility to hold on to Banana to put Rez in a corner where he can't really move and then just pop him in the head with an M4. Then things can change dramatically.
It's pretty amazing that Glaive is 20 for 6, I must say. I mean, yesterday we had a 24 and 3 for Cold Zero on his first half in
look what happened in that
Inferno.
match.
And that was I believe a 12-3. Was it 12-3? First half?
I don't want to talk about that match.
Yeah.
It went on for a very, very long time.
What I'm saying is I feel like Glaive is performing better in a more difficult match. Or first half at the very least.
Lucky to get away with that. Slightly too far, those HEs. Nice idea, though, from Ninjas in Pajamas. The third man towards B will rotate back towards A, Dupree, with half his health. Again, there's more utility for Astralis, but they have... Maybe it's going to be a slow take, but that smoke up the top is going to be very important. Glaive spraying, and that's going to cost him. Zipex is in a vulnerable position as well, but of course it's Rez to try and make a difference and get taken out. 4 versus 3, though. It's working out for Ninjas in Pajamas. There's plenty of time on the clock, and Astralis are very, very stretched at this point. They may have to consider their options now for the next round.
Yes, it finally feels like something's gone right for NiP here. They've managed to find themselves on the right end of the fortune. Getting a spray kill through the smoke, through the woods, top Banana for the second kill on Banana, and they just cut noise. And this is really cool because, you know, sometimes you may think, oh, you know, why don't they just run into the site? They don't know if it's the case that Astralis had an extra player on the bomb site. They don't want to rush things. They have a man advantage situation working for them in Device, whipping that shot. Going with the second one, though. Does he go in for more? Will be smoked back, and Magix will creep forwards. There's a gap in that smoke. I don't know if that's going to be... Yeah, Magic's going to abuse this. Going to go straight through it, but Forest has him covered.
1 versus 2 for Device. Walking into a crossfire. Drop the flash, that will be heard. Now they know exactly where he is. He's got the chain flash with him, but he's doing the best he can. Oh, Dennis is trying to flank him, and that's a crossfire not working out, but Forest will get the final frag. Really important that they managed to get that NiP, and now they look pretty damn good for a 6th round. By no means is it guaranteed. Device has the money for an AWP. There's an AUG for Dupree, but there's not much behind that.
Yeah, good work there from NiP in that round. And UMP is out for Astralis. I think this is one of the maps where the UMP is you know, you might pick it in certain spots on the CT side over the MP9. Nice with the opening pick there on the Forest, finding him down middle. And you talked about 6 rounds, and it might very well be possible still here for NiP, which would be quite surprising to imagine, considering how they were getting blasted in the first 8-9 rounds. There it is, Glaive, using that UMP to full effect, close range on Banana. And that's the problem. You know, you don't know how many people, like what Astralis are doing behind the banana smokes. And Magix finds his way out of Boiler into 1. Almost a chance at a second. Rez and Get right now with so much to deal with. This is just falling apart.
Tall order indeed for Rez. another rough situation for him, and it doesn't quite work out. That is 5 rounds for Ninjas in Pyjamas at half-time. They will move to the seat.
That's a good spot. That's as good of a spot that we could ask for NiP, considering the context of that first half.
Yeah, I think it's, again, they had a few chances to make a difference, and they finally managed to do that. And NiP trying to sneak down mid, got caught as they walked into the bench. Unfortunate timing for them. They don't want to lose both these pistols. That would be somewhat disastrous, especially against Astralis. Rez still making his way down. I don't think he was detected, it seems. Oh, no, Glaive looking at his 6 now. I think he's going to see him just about. Rez trying to make a play, but it's all about these headshots. A P250 for Dupree. It's not often that you see a P250 on the T side of Inferno. A lot of closer ranges, so I think many teams will prefer everyone to have Kevlar or grenades, but here is one for Dupree. It's done the job so far. 1 headshot for him, and this is looking really bad. It may be a short game of Inferno if NiP lose this pistol. Pistol rounds don't have the implications that they used to have, but for Astralis to win both pistols, I think, still has strong implications.
Yeah, I like how Device baited out Forest for the peak, sort of outmaneuvered him, committed him to a wide swing. And you may think, you know, what does that mean? Sometimes the way that you're moving in these engagements around cover, if the other person's looking for the engagement, and in that case Forest was, you know, they're down players, you need to find a 1v1. And you need to confidently take it and win it. And that's just a play that you have to make. And so I think Device kind of was able to sort of suggest that he was going to keep taking that fight, and then Forest was pushed into the open with a swing. Dennis able to trade 1 kill back, but it's more about money than anything else at this point for Dennis, picking up some extra kills, but he'll only be the 1. And I think that was the case in the first pistol round as well. NiP unable to really get any damage done. So it's a pretty rough spot because you're kind of encouraged to go for the full save in this position for NiP. There's a strong argument to do it. And on Inferno, you don't want that to be the case. You kind of want to force buy, honestly, because if you lose the pistol, you want to... I mean, it's one of the strongest maps for a CT force buy, firstly, because the value of smokes, CZs and so on, how effective they can be around the architecture of the map, but ultimately, if they have this full save and then they buy the next round, they're not going to have as much utility to take banana aggressively. You know, having an AWP with Kevlar, with grenades is going to be, you know, well, it's not going to be possible. So you're kind of handicapping yourself. And so it's a horrible position to find yourself in. And NiP have it all working against them right now. Ooh.
Not bad. Not a bad start. They have position on the entire site, so should be a formality. Lots of SMGs to make some bonus money with. Okay. That kind of sucks for Zipex. A little extra money for Get Right. Not a whole lot of money to be made here for NiP unless they somehow got a knife kill. Cleveland device are low though, so maybe there are more kills to be had. Maybe not. Lecro, there's a fair chance he catches something, but again, it's relatively inconsequential. The T side, you don't have the monetary pressures of the CT side. Won't be too concerned with the SMGs and so on, and they're making those juicy kill bonuses. 12-5 for Astralis, and the game starts on this second half. So a hell of a lot of pressure for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They need to break the money quickly for Astralis, and if they can do that, then they could get 8 rounds on the board fairly promptly. But that is definitely easier said than done. Even with all these SMGs, Astralis will be looking to outposition their opponents and just generally outplay them.
And it's really sad as well when you're an NiP here, because you have to spend the $4,000 on getting helmets if you can, because even though you need utility desperately, you know there's a bunch of SMGs out in the field, and you want to, if you're going to get a lot of firepower, you really need to protect it. And I like this. Get Right's playing aggressively. They can't really give up banana despite the low amount of utility. They kind of have to just make it work. And they try, but it's failed. It has failed enormously. And that's, oh my god, what a peek from Glaive with the FAMAS. Oh man. And that's the round over. And I was wondering actually that there is an argument to see more FAMAS on NiP just so that they can have more utility. And perhaps with more utility, they'll be able to have more success in a round such as this. It is a map that really is impossibly hard to play the CT side with low utility. You need to have maximum utility. And they're going to try to protect these guns, but with the SMGs, there is very little for Astralis to worry about in terms of, you know, what they give up here. They can absolutely just commit almost all their players to hunt down the remainder of NiP, of which is just Dennis now with the York, and he's got so many players in his face, and that's going to be that. So just as you said, James, a really rough start for NiP. Could be a quick one on map 1.
Yeah, it's a long road to recovery. It's a very long road, and the wheel has not been invented yet. It's going to take a while. A few pistols here and there for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but it is a cold start so far on Inferno. 4 players will head towards A for Ninjas in Pyjamas. In the meantime, Astralis will clear out the banana area. Bit by bit, we can see how this is what's of interest in this particular round is how Astralis use utility and personnel and numbers to have the safest approach possible to an area. On this occasion, it's the B bomb site. We see that Get Right's got a counter smoke grenade to try and deter Astralis, ruin the timing. Device is already ahead. He's vulnerable to a USP shot now with 3 HP, so he'll want to stay deep in the site to protect the AK-47 that he's holding. Zipex moving up for a coffin to plant, so planting that way leaves you less vulnerable to spray from the coffin's position, from behind the coffin's position, if you had like a smoke up in construction or something. So that's the main focus in rounds such as this. But it will be 14-5.
Yeah, really easy opening for Astralis. As you say, with the victory of the pistol, it's pretty impactful still, just due to the fact that they're starting with the initiative, or the easy initiative, and again, these harder decisions that NiP have had to have made with their economy makes things pretty awkward off the get-go for them. Finally, they're going to have... I mean, this is the crazy thing, is that NiP will have one chance now with, effectively, because this is the only good buy that we're going to see from them if they are unsuccessful here. So it's got to come. This has to be a success. It's got to come down to this. I'm curious whether we'll see Electro take any particularly aggressive peaks, if they'll go for some sort of a Hail Mary, or if they'll just try to play this as normal as possible. You'll see 3 opening things up towards Banana, as is typical for this this map on the CT side. Extra utility early on for the Banana defense or offense, as the case may be. And you see Astralis fighting for it. And really just basic, look how much utility has been baited out here as well from Astralis, and look how much they're sitting on versus what they've forced out from NiP. NiP have committed a huge amount of utility to control Banana. If Astralis come in with 1 flash in about 30 seconds, they've probably undone all that work from NiP with 1 flashbang.
Just over a minute on the clock for Astralis. Do NiP feel inclined to try and take the game away from Astralis with some good timing? We saw... Oh! That's not a good start for Zipex, a rare miss from him. We saw some success from Furia on Nuke with their aggressive smoke in the lobby, which kind of put Astralis out of sorts. It might be more difficult to do that on Inferno. As you can see, there is a take of the top mid position. 40 seconds remaining. Now, we've still got Rez spotting Banana, but GetRight's gone back to Banana even though he hasn't seen anything. And indeed, it seems like Astralis want to at least show the bomb over there. We've got Glaive and Device. Glaive with 12 HP poking towards the Banana position. So this could be very, very interesting, but there's still action towards that A bomb site. And it seems that Magisk will be sacrificed, although he's still managing to take people with him at the moment, clearing out the A site. But here comes the procession. 10 seconds, Rez, all he needs to do is take out the bomb planter, and he will probably win the round, as long as GetRight survives. But he's going for Zipex instead. He's just got to play for the beeps, and surely the round is won. Get the bomb rolling on the floor. And I think there's a round win there. But here we are. We've got to GetRight now on a 1 versus 3. Glaive doing some Super Mario Brothers, but this is the wrong game, buddy. And now maybe there's a chance for GetRight.
Yeah. There's 3 kills already for GetRight. Needs 2 more. There's no utility to work with. So that's pretty tough. And he's just holding this. And that's, I mean, there's no options for him there. It's really difficult. And that'll be the first... Or rather, I should say, it's the first of many match points or game points for Astralis. But we'll talk about stunning a fake, just kill everyone there. that's how you do it.
I don't know if there was awareness with the clock, but I really feel like, or maybe he thought the player to his right was closer, but I really feel like all you need to do in that situation, as long as GetRight is safe and he can hide somewhere, wait for the plant, take out the planter, there's probably not enough time to pick up the bomb and plant it again, or maybe it's very close, but either way, that's how you're going to win that round. Otherwise, you're going to lose the round, basically, and be at game points.
NiP this time have had to go down to FAMAS to try to have more utility, and you GetRight with a respectable rifle. Though I shouldn't disparage the FAMAS. I'm a fan most of the time. You can see that Astralis just waiting for the pushes. They know that NiP are in a desperate spot, and they're taking full advantage of that. So now that there's a minute left and 2 picks have been made, Astralis can start to think about coming together as a team to ferry that bomb towards a planting position. A and B are still both great options at this point. Doesn't really matter where they go, honestly. As long as they do it together, they'll be fine. And there's a quick pop flash play, and another frag unanswered by Astralis. And this is the slowest of bleeds. But NiP will be bleeding out. However, there is still play in this series, of course. This is just the first map. But this is not a great start for NiP.
Good thing it's best of 3. Rez now is dead. And that is a solid game of Inferno as far as Astralis are concerned. A dominating scoreline and many dominating rounds as well. NiP had a few chances to bring it back in the first half, missed a few, but they did get some rounds on the board, but no rounds in that second half. Solid stuff for Astralis. Thoughts from Freya and the desk after this break.